8 years full-time in the markets. Here are the 8 lessons that cost me the most money, time, and sanity. Fix these and you'll skip the worst parts of your journey. I can't imagine how much time I would have saved if I'd sorted these sooner. Number 1, trying to get the reps in. I was going way too low a time frame, thinking that by increasing my trade frequency, I'd get to my end goal faster. The reason I thought this is because price action is fractal. What that means is that you could see an actionable divergence on the daily time frame, or you could also see an actionable divergence on the 1 minute time frame. Now, whilst that's true, the lower time frames bear much weaker validity. And as a result of this, I was building the foundations to my system on weak footing. Number 2, system hopping. Jumping around from system to system for years. Styles, indicators, everything. What this meant, of course, was, it's the classic, I was the jack of all trades, master of none. Instead of back and forward testing, what I should have been doing, I was just trying everything under the sun. Now, this has to be taken, of course, in balanced measure. Don't just go for the first system you find. You do need to feel your way around a little bit, but just don't let it drag on forever. Number 3, tight stops. 2 issues here. Firstly, I thought I was better than the markets. And secondly, I was getting very greedy with my sizing. As a result, I thought I could pinpoint the exact timing and placement where price would reverse, and subsequently place my stops way too tight. Unfortunately, I was pretty thick-headed in this regard and didn't change my approach despite hundreds of losses. So if you feel like this resonates with you, don't do what I did. Fix this now. Go lighter, go wider, and I promise you'll thank yourself later. Number 4, listening to the wrong signals. There were 2 main price action concepts that I had to shatter from my early days of learning. Number 1 was to remove support and resistance as primary triggers, sub this out for supply and demand. Number 2 was to remove basic volume off the charts and instead replace it with delta volume. So although it's critical to stick to a system and practice, just make sure you don't do so blindly. If something's not working, just make sure to sub it out and replace it with something that does. Number 5, overmanaging positions. I would second guess myself and my approach. I would also dance in and out of positions, which is a great way to grind down accounts. And as a result, I lived in a state of stress, of uncertainty, and negative P&L. Number 6, listening to others on social media. First off, I let them influence my decision-making process. Even when I got to a point with trading where I thought that wasn't possible, it was still affecting my subconscious decisions. And as I was comparing myself unknowingly to their curated feed, I was essentially comparing myself to an unrealistic representation of what trading looks like. The result was it battered my confidence, I lost my patience, I lost my discipline, and it did me no favors whatsoever. Number 7, not aligning with the trend. I was trying to fade the markets at every opportunity, not knowing that instead of lining up a good trade setup, what I was really doing was just willingly stepping in front of a train. This was probably one of the most impactful changes I made and saw a massive change in my performance once I started better aligning with the trend. Number 8, and I'm sure one you can all resonate with, patience and stringency. It was that classic new trader trap of just taking anything willy-nilly without much thought or deliberation at all into the process. I wasn't grading my setups or approaching the markets with any sort of systematic process. Instead, I was just feeding my dopamine addiction like it was a parasite. Over the years, I moved firmly away from an erratic dopamine-driven approach to one with much higher selectivity and discipline. I often say this to new traders who are also struggling with this issue. Instead of taking 5 trades with 1x risk on each trade, wait for that 1 in 5, which is truly a 10 out of 10 setup, and approach that with 5x risk. If you're able to do this and implement it properly, you will see a huge jump in your growth guaranteed. As you can see, almost all of these areas are psychology based, an area you truly have to master to achieve your goals in the markets. If you feel like you're lacking in this area, don't worry, most are, but I've got a full masterclass for you to dive into, so click here and get stuck in.